friend. This is Rob Shout, author, life coach, speaker, etc., etc., etc. I want to talk to you about giving a fuck. Now, for some of you who know me, who've read my children's books, read my poetry books on spirituality and on nature, hearing me utter the word fuck is jolting for you. You may have a variety of thoughts that go through your mind, but it is part of a language lexicon for humanity, not just for me, but for all of humanity. And I want to talk about the upcoming book of Give a Fuck that I'm putting out and why I'm putting it out, and talk about one of the sections in the book. And so, first of all, as you now know, I use the F-bomb. I don't use it in professional settings, but I use it in other times because I think we need to give a fuck about humanity. Give a fuck about other people. Give a fuck about our own lives. And sometimes we don't. We say we do, but we're complacent, we're apathetic, we are avoidant, we're in denialism, we're in a whole bunch of spaces. Maybe fear, maybe that passive thought process of it'll all be okay. And it will be okay in the end, one way or another. But that doesn't mean we don't need a slap upside our head, a rhetorical slap upside our head, to jolt us into action at times. And that's what Give a Fuck is all about. It is not a book of belittling others or putting other people down. I never use that term to belittle, denigrate, degrade, or shame another person. Those are terrible things. It's like an infection that spreads across the minds of humanity. But I use it consciously. It's never flippant. It's very conscious. So when someone says, "Oh my gosh, I'm surprised that you use that," or "Why did you use that?" For very conscious reasons. Because I think in a moment or with some types of people who are engaging in some types of thought processes or behaviors, you need to drop an F-bomb to shock them back into reality, shock them out of their complacency. And that's what Give a Fuck is. The genre is self-help and life skills, but the subgenre is shock development. And it's not meant to shock and then just leave people shocked. It's meant to educate, to inspire, to provoke new ways of thinking and acting. So I want to talk to you a little bit about one of the sections called Buy the Fucking Ticket, because I don't think that we all do that. I think we dream our lives away. I think we try to create New Year's resolutions, say, I will change in some way, or I'm going to do this year. And then we don't do it. And then we wonder why. And we say, I'm just so busy, or I just can't do this. So about 10 to 15 years ago, one of my husband's friends and I were walking along a trail down in New Mexico. And she was in New Mexico doing a 3-week writer's retreat. She wanted to write a memoir. She wanted to write a film script. She wanted to write a whole bunch of things. And she had another job, but she took a 3-week sabbatical to do some writing at a writer's retreat where other writers can evaluate the work, give ideas, etc. And as we're walking along, at that time, I was a government and corporate consultant, a life coach, a business coach, etc. And I had always dreamed of writing. That was my dream, of producing manuscripts. I had about 30 manuscripts and some semblance on my computer. Life skills, business skills, self-help, children's manuscript, poetry, everything. And I had done nothing with them since early 2000. And about 10 years ago, we were walking along this path. And as she's talking about the writer's retreat, I kept on saying things. I was in front of her and kept on saying things like, oh, I would love to do that. Oh, I've always dreamed of doing that. Oh, this and oh, that. And then she would say from behind me, well, why aren't you doing that? Rob, why don't you just come down to Truth or Consequences and join the retreat? Rob, what other retreats are you interested in? And she was trying to energize me, to empower me. But what came out of my mouth was a litany of reasons why I couldn't. I'm too busy. I don't have time. I don't know if my work is good enough. I don't know if anyone would buy my work. I'd be embarrassed to even show it to other writers. The litany was just flowing, like spewing out. And finally, when we got to the point of, oh, I looked at some writers' retreats out on the East Coast and I would really like to go to those, but I don't know if I can find some time in my schedule. She interjected, and from behind me, she goes, buy the fucking ticket. Her tone had changed, her direct assertiveness had changed, and she said, buy the fucking ticket. And I stopped on the trail and I turned around and I said, what? Because I needed that jolt. I needed the F bomb in particular to jolt me. Wouldn't it jolt you if someone just said that to you? Buy the fucking ticket. And I said, what do you mean? And she goes, literally, buy the fucking ticket, an airline ticket, a ticket into that writer's workshop. Because if you buy it, then you will rearrange all other parts of your life around that because you've already made a financial, a time, and a motivational commitment. You will rearrange everything. You'll find a way. You can call it a vacation to some people if you're taking a work vacation, and fine, call it that. You can call it a sabbatical. You can call it whatever you want, but you will find a way to do it. But if you don't buy the fucking ticket, then all you're doing is making the excuses that you've made to me for the last half mile on this trail, she said. And she said, do you know you've just said about 12 to 15 different excuses? And she said, and if you buy the fucking ticket, you're changing your mindset, Rob. And she said, so that you're making a commitment, a tangible commitment to yourself. And you're taking the next step. You don't know how it's going to transpire. You don't know if a book will come out of it. You don't know any of that stuff. But you're willing to take your confidence and take the next step. So buy the fucking ticket and stop talking about it. And if you don't, then don't talk to me about it anymore because you have everything it takes inside of you. You even have the semblances of what you want to produce in the future, and you'll learn how to do them. But you need to buy the fucking ticket. I stood there, silent, a motor mouth like me, just silent, because she was speaking truth. She was dropping that bomb. She gave a fuck about me enough to stop me from all the excuses. That's giving a fuck about someone. To call them on their thought process. That is not humiliating, only if someone feels insecure. It is asking them to step into their power and stop whining and stop complaining and stop making excuses and take the next step. That is compassion and action in a very assertive servant leadership rhetorical way. And so I did. I bought the fucking ticket. And then I realized I'm going to buy this fucking ticket every single year of my life. And I am taking 2 to 4 weeks away every single year of my life to publish books. And the rest, as I say, my friends, is history. I have 2 poetry books now published up on Amazon and on Ingram Sparks. I have 4 children's books. I have 2 more books coming out this year. And I'm still working, consulting and coaching, because as the books gain traction, the income is not there yet. And I need to do the marketing. I need to learn. I'm still in this learning curve from 10 years ago. But the learning curve 10 years ago was like this, and now it's like this. And so I'm still working my other job, still committing, but I'm now buying the fucking ticket every year and every day. Every week, I'm doing one thing to either write, to submit manuscripts, or to market. One thing. And so, my friends, ask yourself, do you need to buy the fucking ticket or tell someone to buy the fucking ticket? And that might mean to get off their ass and do something, take the next logical step or hopeful step or faith-based step for their career or for a job or for their finances, to meet with a financial counselor or save some money. Or maybe it's in a relationship to have a crucial conversation. Or maybe it's for themselves to look at themselves in the mirror and say, why am I so afraid all the time? I need to do one thing to build my confidence. Why am I a victim all the time? When other people are in the same situations and they are not victimizing themselves or calling themselves a victim or saying it's just my trauma over and over again. I need to buy the fucking ticket and grow the fuck up. And so that's the power of this book. It is 20 give a fucks, 20 fuck statements with life lessons, real life examples, some provocative questions for you to use or give to other people when you're talking to them and saying, why are you doing this? Where's this coming from? What do you need to do to stop this? And then some actions and activities that they can take commensurate with each fuck statement. And this might not be the kind of language that you're used to using. Because as a meditation teacher and guide, as a pastoral counselor, as a therapist, and as a coach, it is not the language I use all the time, but there's nothing wrong with this language. Because the point is to provoke, to stop people in their tracks, to make them think differently. And sometimes you need to give a fuck at the right time, in the right way, and it will turn their life around. I hope this was of help to you, my friends.